The movement slows as the column compresses near the ravine. It is late morning in occupied Eastern Europe, 1941. The road narrows where trees thicken and the ground dips away. Guards halt the prisoners in groups of 20 to 30. Each group is handled the same way. Belts removed. Packs dropped. Pockets emptied. Papers taken without inspection. Watches and rings placed into canvas bags already heavy with metal. No records are kept. There is no questioning. The process is quick, practiced, and silent. The soldier watches how the guards work. One searches. Another counts. A third stands back with a rifle, scanning the tree line. The flow never stops. When one group finishes, the next is pushed forward. Those already stripped are moved closer to the ravine's edge, where the ground slopes down and disappears from view. He notices the terrain. The earth is churned and slick. Boot prints overlap in every direction. Spent cartridges lie everywhere, some crushed into the mud. The smell is unmistakable now. It carries upward from below. Men in line begin to understand. Some avert their eyes. Others stare straight ahead. No one speaks. There is nothing to negotiate. There is no labor detail waiting beyond the trees. The guard's posture makes that clear. The soldier runs through options without moving. There is no cover. The distance to the forest is too far. The ravine itself is deep enough to hide bodies, not men. When his turn comes, his belongings vanish into a sack without pause. He steps forward with the rest, lightened of weight, still fully dressed, guided closer to the drop, where gunfire begins to echo from below. The march ends without ceremony, as if the road simply runs out of purpose. It is still 1941, late morning, somewhere in occupied Eastern Europe. The prisoners are halted near a ravine cut into the forest floor. Guards move them in batches, 20 or 30 at a time. The routine is fixed. Belts off. Packs dropped. Coats opened. Hands searched quickly, without interest in the men themselves. Watches are removed and placed into sacks. Rings follow. Papers are taken and folded away. No one records names. No questions are asked. The process takes minutes. When one group is finished, the next is pushed forward to replace it. The soldier studies the system because there is nothing else to do. One guard searches. Another counts. A third watches the perimeter with his rifle shouldered, eyes moving between the trees and the waiting line. The rhythm never breaks. This is not improvisation. It is repetition. The ground near the ravine is torn up by boots. Cartridge cases glint in the dirt. Some are fresh. Some are crushed flat. A darker stain runs down the slope where the earth has been disturbed again and again. The smell rises with the air. Men ahead are directed closer to the edge. Those behind are kept just far enough back to prevent rushing. There are no trucks. No holding area. No equipment for transport. Whispers pass through the line. Shootings earlier. Other ravines. Entire groups gone. When his turn comes, his belongings disappear into a canvas bag already heavy. He steps forward with the others, closer now to the drop, where the sound below confirms what the process was built to do. The line inches forward until there is nowhere left to step. The ravine opens suddenly. It is wider than it looked from above, cut deep into the earth, its sides raw and uneven. Guards position the first group along the edge. The rest are held back, forced to watch from several meters away. Rifles are raised. Commands are brief and procedural. The first shots come in a tight sequence. Not a single volley, but a controlled pattern. Men at the edge are struck and pushed forward by impact and momentum. Bodies fall together, colliding as they drop, disappearing from view. The sound below changes as flesh and earth absorb the force. The soldier is close enough now to see how it works. Each group is brought forward. Each group is finished. There is no pause between cycles. The guards adjust footing, reload calmly, and signal for the next set. He measures without moving. The height of the drop, the angle of the slope, the spacing between shots. He watches how bodies fall when hit in the chest versus the shoulder. He notes how long the guards wait before firing again. When his group is ordered forward, the noise sharpens. Heart rate rises, then steadies. Breath shortens, then slows. He understands there will be no warning shot, no delay. The moment arrives in fractions. He does not jump. He lets the impact take him, folding at the right instant, allowing gravity and weight around him to carry his body forward. He turns slightly as he falls, protecting the head, letting limbs go slack. He hits other bodies before the ground. The air leaves his lungs. Above, the shooting continues, indifferent to where each body lands. The fall ends in weight and silence that is not complete. He lies wedged at an angle near the slope, 1941, the ravine floor already layered from earlier groups. Bodies press from above and beside him. The earth is cold and damp. He does not move. He waits for the next shots to settle before allowing his chest to rise again. Gunfire continues overhead in measured bursts. Each volley adds mass. Limbs slide. Dirt and clothing fill the gaps. Blood runs downward, carried by gravity, coating his face and uniform. He lets it happen. Any attempt to clear it would be visible. He regulates his breathing by count. Short in, longer out. Only through the nose when possible. When a body shifts, he freezes completely, allowing the movement to stop on its own. Pain registers and is ignored. The pressure across his ribs makes expansion difficult, but not impossible. Voices move along the rim. Boots scrape rock. A guard fires a single shot downward, checking for movement. Another follows. The bullets strike lower, sending dust and fragments upward. He absorbs the tremor without reacting. Time stretches. He marks it by sound. Reloads. Footsteps. Distant shouting. The pattern repeats as long as there are prisoners left above. When the firing pauses, it is replaced by inspection. Bodies are prodded with boots. Some are dragged aside. A flare hisses somewhere beyond the edge, briefly lighting the ravine. He keeps his eyes closed. Muscles remain slack. The night settles slowly. The guards do not leave at once. Their presence lingers, close enough that breath must stay shallow, until the darkness deepens and the ravine grows still under the accumulated weight. The first movement comes only after the ravine quiets. Night has settled fully by the time he tests his limbs. The weight above him has shifted and stiffened. Carefully, he frees one arm, then a shoulder, pushing against bodies that no longer resist. Pain flares along his side and leg. Something is wrong there, but he does not examine it. He slides, inch by inch, toward the slope. The climb out is slow. Soil gives way under his hands. He keeps low, stopping whenever light sweeps the area. Search teams move along the rim with lanterns, checking the ground and the edges. He waits them out, pressed flat against the earth, until their voices fade. Once clear of the pit, he crawls into the trees. Blood loss makes him lightheaded. He tears cloth to bind his leg, tightens it with a knot, and keeps moving. Standing is impossible. He navigates by stars and the darker line of hedgerows, choosing fields over roads, ditches over open ground. Shots crack somewhere behind him. A patrol has picked up movement. He reaches a low rise and understands he cannot outrun them. He drops deliberately, rolls onto his side, and goes still in the grass. Boots approach. A flashlight passes over him briefly. A rifle fires once, then again. Dirt jumps nearby. He does not react. Breath stays shallow. Limbs remain slack. After a moment, the light moves on. The patrol continues past, satisfied. He stays down long after the sounds fade, listening to his own pulse and the distant movement of men searching the darkness, knowing that staying still is no longer enough. Movement resumes before the sky fully lightens. At dawn, 1941, he is found at the edge of a field, unable to stand fast enough when a sweep line closes. Rifles surround him. There is no interrogation. He is pushed into a new column of prisoners gathered from nearby farms and hedgerows, all captured in the same morning net. They march toward a forest clearing less than a kilometer away. The ground is firm here, marked by wheel ruts and footprints from earlier operations. The soldier limps, dragged forward when he falls behind. No one slows the pace for him. The guards are working to a schedule. The clearing opens abruptly. A shallow depression sits at its center. Bodies already lie there, some fresh, some darkened. A firing detail stands off to one side, rotating men through positions. Ammunition boxes are open. Rifles are loaded without urgency. Executions begin immediately. Groups of 5 are moved forward. Shots are close enough that he feels concussion through the air. He watches where men are hit and how they fall. Some collapse instantly. Others take a step or two before dropping. The detail fires again without comment. As his group approaches, he steadies his breathing. He knows the rhythm now. He watches the shooters reset between bursts. When gunfire erupts for the men beside him, he lets his body give way at the same instant, collapsing before impact can mark him. He turns his face into the dirt, muscles slack, pulse controlled, allowing the cold ground and the weight of others to finish the deception. Boots move closer. Someone pauses nearby. He does not move. He moves again only after the clearing empties. The day is already warm when he pulls himself free and crawls into the tree line. By afternoon, he reaches low farmland beyond the patrol routes. Late in 1941, partisan bands operate in these areas, loosely connected, constantly shifting. He stumbles into one by accident, collapsing near an abandoned shed at the edge of a village. They keep weapons trained on him until they are satisfied he is alone. His wounds are cleaned quickly. A strip of cloth replaces the soaked binding on his leg. Food is rationed. Water is measured. There is no time to stay. German sweeps are moving through the region in widening arcs, closing gaps village by village. Maps are drawn in the dirt. Routes are suggested, not guaranteed. He is warned to avoid forests that look empty and roads that look safe. The partisans scatter before dusk, each group taking a different direction to avoid detection. He travels for days, mostly at night, hiding in barns and drainage ditches when aircraft pass overhead. The countryside looks unchanged, but the danger has shifted everywhere. Patrols appear without warning. Entire hamlets are silent. On the fourth day, exhausted and disoriented, he follows the sound of movement toward what he assumes is a work detail. Instead, he reaches another clearing. Trucks are parked at the edge. Guards are positioned in familiar patterns. Prisoners are being assembled. The setup is unmistakable. The same distances, the same spacing, the same lack of preparation for transport. He stops at the tree line, unseen for the moment, understanding too late where his path has led, and that the choices he has relied on may be demanded once again. He does not retreat. There is nowhere to retreat to. It is several days later, still 1941, in another forest clearing pressed into service for the same purpose. The terrain differs slightly, but the arrangement does not. Trucks idle at a distance. Guards form a loose perimeter. Prisoners are lined in rows and moved forward in groups. The soldier is caught during the sweep that closes the area. This time, there is no panic in him, only sequence. The shooting begins in controlled bursts. Men fall where they are hit and are dragged aside to make space. He watches the guards as much as the ground, noting how long they look, how close they step, how fatigue dulls precision as hours pass. When his turn comes, he times the collapse with the first report, letting his body drop before a bullet can find him. He lands hard, but correctly. Face turned away, limbs loose, breath shallow and irregular, then almost nothing. Others fall across him, sealing him in place. The smell of cordite mixes with damp soil and blood. Checks follow. Boots prod shoulders. Rifles fire downward at random intervals. He absorbs the impacts around him without reaction. Muscles remain unresponsive. Tremors are stopped before they start. He measures time by sound alone. Reloads. Shouted counts. The distant thump of artillery far beyond the trees. Weather changes. A light rain begins, washing the dust down into the ground. Guards grow impatient. The clearing empties as daylight fades. Only when darkness is complete does he allow a finger to move, testing space. The perimeter has thinned. Engines start and move off. He stays still longer than necessary, until certainty replaces hope, and the night finally gives him back the ability to move again. Morning comes without clarity, only light. He moves east, then south, guided by memory and scraps of direction gathered earlier. For days he hides in barns, culverts, and drainage ditches, traveling only when patrol noise fades. His leg stiffens. Infection threatens. He keeps moving anyway, favoring shade and low ground. By the end of the week, he reaches a forward screen of friendly forces. The approach is cautious on both sides. Rifles are raised. He is searched thoroughly, then searched again. His uniform is examined. His boots are cut away to check for concealed papers. He offers what he has left. Identification takes time. A torn service document, folded and soaked, is dried and compared. Old unit markings are checked against lists. Scars are examined and matched to medical records. Men argue quietly over dates and locations. The process is deliberate because deception is common and mistakes are costly. He is finally allowed to sit. Water is given in measured amounts. A medic looks at his leg and shakes his head before beginning work. Nearby, Others speak of villages erased, of ravines still active, of units that never returned from sweep zones. Numbers circulate without ceremony. Entire companies missing. Whole districts emptied. The killings are not isolated. They are continuing, moving with the front and behind it. As night approaches, he is placed under guard in a rear shelter, not as a prisoner, but not yet as a confirmed survivor either. He lies awake, listening to distant guns, aware that proof of life does not end danger, and that survival has only shifted its shape. Time passes, then slows. He recovers enough to be reassigned, then moved again as the front shifts. The war does not pause to account for what happened in the ravines. Paperwork reduces events to lines and numbers. Locations are marked. Dates are logged. The system absorbs the survivor without comment. What remains is clarity. He understands now how the killings were done. Not in chaos, but in sequence. Not in anger, but by routine. Guards rotated. Ammunition counted. Terrain selected for efficiency. The absence of records was part of the design. The speed was deliberate. His survival is examined by officers and medics, but never explained away. No miracle is recorded. No official citation follows. He lived because he observed, because he controlled his body under pressure, and because chance aligned 3 times in places where it usually did not. He carries the weight of those who did not move when he did. He remembers the spacing at the edge, the sound of reloads, the way daylight changed the work pace. These details stay precise, because forgetting them would turn the dead into abstractions. There is no myth attached to what happened. No singular act that redeems it. Survival did not confer meaning on the massacres. It only allowed one man to describe how they functioned. The war continues around him, loud and mechanical. But beneath it runs a quieter record, made of ravines, clearings, and men who learned, too late, what efficiency looks like when applied to annihilation. That knowledge endures, intact, because someone remained alive to carry it forward.